we ready?
Come before S. So then why the S is?
Okay. All right, we're gonna open the work.
Sorry.
We're gonna open the work study for the budget hearing. There will be no action taking since out the work studies. Justin, you're on.
All right, morning guys. You guys have all got my budget. I believe Stephanie gave it to you, so I guess just fire away with whatever questions you got.
Oh, and I think you were gonna mention that federal mandate coming down the pike.
On,
Bridges.
oh, yes, yeah, that was one thing. There is a new federal mandate on bridge. There's a lot of, I found out Wednesday that we have to install weight limit signs and a little yellow sign that says ahead at every intersection before the bridge.
Before the bridge.
So that actually happened.
That actually did happen. And we do have
193 bridges.
like 200.
200.
Right at, like 198. So 200 bridges. And anything that's got a weight on it. And I know they went back through several years ago and bridges that didn't have weights now had to have weights. So pretty much every bridge in the county has got it. So you're looking at
Two more signs.
2 extra signs at minimum per
Every
bridge.
mile.
Every mile
Every mile that the bridge is in.
that a bridge is in. So
And when, this is with a year?
we have 5 years
Oh, 5
to
years.
get into compliance with
Okay.
it.
Is there any state funding or federal?
There is
funding?
no funding as of right now. So I know when I went to the meeting, the little KAC meeting, there a lot of us got together and we're gonna try to get with our KAC liaisons and see if we can't push back against federal government. Not that it's gonna do us any good, but this is gonna put a lot of expense.
Well, I don't
onto
understand
the
what
county.
benefit it's gonna help. One thing it's gonna do is tell whoever's coming down the road, they ought to know the bridge. If they know this country, they know there's bridges out here.
And
Yep.
and the same way with like if we got one that goes underneath, say like interstate, whatever, those all have to have the height sign. Say if that bridge isn't straight, if it angles a little bit, you have to put one on each side of the bridge saying the height. And those are also gonna have to be marked.
You can't
ahead.
do the minimum height.
Nope, you have to mark both sides if they're different heights.
So basically every bridge,
Which makes no sense.
But we don't really have any like that.
Yeah, I think, well,
Well,
As
Every
a
bridge
county, we don't have none.
yeah, we shouldn't have any, no.
There's one on, hit by road, south of Roy Ryan, there you go under I-70 right there on the county road.
they're
they
all
have
curved.
bridges interstate, so I
That's
don't
the
know.
But
interstate.
you're going under that, and it will be responsible to our road though, we'll be responsible for.
Yeah, but that underneath the interstate, that's their right of ways under there.
He just said,
To a certain point.
Yeah, up to
So,
that intersection,
yeah.
like I say, even up the hill where our
Yeah.
road is on
Go,
both ends, that
Yeah,
from 40
Yeah.
up to almost to the bear corner at the bear house. So
yeah,
if they're within the
So is,
yeah.
where the
Which like most of those.
off ramps
they-
are,
they
off ramps
should,
are,
but
that's
it should be up to the
KDOT's,
state
but-
KDOT's on that. It should be on the
they'll
majority. of them,
pass it
but-
down to us sooner or later.
And that's, yeah.
is there a rough cost for you? to-
I do not have one on that because like I said, I just found
Yeah,
it out
just got
Wednesday.
passed.
So, yeah, just got
They've been
that.
working on that for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. So I do not have an actual price on that.
That's a federal mandate, right?
That is a federal mandate, yes.
did you look into, we had talked about it a while back about possibly looking into having like how much it'd cost for overlays and stuff to farm out. Did you?
Overlays, no. I have not. And chip sealing, I have not because we just got the oil prices.
Right.
So I know last year chip sealing to some of the counties that were doing it, that I visited with, was costing them $18,000 to $20,000 a mile.
Okay.
To do chip seal.
What are we doing it at?
We're
14?
doing at about 14,000 a mile. Here's what we can do it at. And I mean, even if we did contract that out, the only thing we could get rid of would be the chip spreader because we're still
Yeah,
gonna have
because
to patch, you still gotta have a
Right.
distributor, still gotta have your rollers.
I
all
just didn't
that.
know if you was looking into that.
I have looked into that, yes.
If they turnkeyed it, you'd probably be looking at about $18,000 or $20,000 a mile.
Yeah.
If they done the rollers and the trucks and everything.
Yeah, that's them doing the whole thing. So I mean, but you're also at their mercy when they're gonna come in. So.
Yep.
And I know we did talk about the mowing. I kind of looked into that a little bit. Nobody's really given me a price. Dean had talked with ones that they had talked to at Ellis County, and he said he wouldn't even put a bid in. And he was, when they did it that time, it was about $240 a mile or an hour.
I think that's what he said,
It was like 240, yeah. So I mean, you figure $250 an hour for them to mow, what, 475 miles worth of road.
That's a lot of money.
You're gonna look at $319,500. That's just if it's $250 an hour.
That's per trip.
So
How many times did we mow last year?
last year we had 1,277 and a half hours in mowing, and between the labor and the equipment, it cost us $99,798. It's $100,000 to mow.
Per trip? Or
No,
total?
that's
That's
total
For the
season.
summer.
We're
for
doing
summer.
it cheaper than the private sector can
So
do it.
what was
without
the
a doubt.
price if we,
If we would have somebody do
Right.
it, you're looking roughly 319,500.
that's per mowing?
Yeah, well, that was figuring off of what our hours were,
Oh,
what we
okay.
mowed yet last year. So 1,278 hours.
And then that, though, if you figure too, if we we got 3 mowing tractors, right?
We have
Three.
4.
4.
Mhm.
Then you figure 4 mowing tractors replacement, that's probably 150,000 a tractor.
Mhm.
But how many years did they last though?
Yeah, they're,
We've had them quite a while.
yeah. Yeah, I think the newest one's that new Holland with the batwing mower on it. I don't have
I
that
bet
list with me on
I
it.
bet we're getting 10 years out of them, don't you think?
Oh, easily,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah,
Plus-
John Deere's older than that Kubota.
Yeah,
So you're looking at
yeah.
50,000 a year for equipment.
Yeah, about
That's still-
yeah.
So that's,
Equipment, we're running about 64,000. That's fuel, tires, everything. So,
Right.
yeah,
so, yeah, it's half of what it would cost to contract it out.
yes.
I was reading, Barton County, that's their farmers do. Whoever owns the property in front of that, and I didn't know if we could go back to that. They used to do it years ago, but
I wouldn't have any problems with
They-
that.
you know, especially on the sand roads, blacktop maybe, I don't know. But I know their biggest concern, way back was if farmer got hit out there, you know, or whatever, their swath or a baler or whatever, but I don't know if we can go back to that, especially on the sand roads.
Well, and I did kind of look into that, and they do have the right to mow their own ditch. They have the right to do that.
Yeah, they have the right
So-
to, but,
So, I mean, that basically takes. the
but like if
liability
you
off
wanted
of
to
us.
mow in front of my property or whatever, you had to get permission from me to
Yeah.
move over on the, in front of my property to mow it.
And how many are actually going to do it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it works for Barton County. I don't know, like the sand roads.
Yeah.
You know, you got some of the steep ones. I wouldn't take nothing but a mower anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or rocky areas.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
in theory, it sounds good, but I don't know.
Yes.
Because they have to be mowed because of
Because
the view aside is screwed up. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Somebody has an accident out there. If the grass gets too tall and they can't see the intersection
or a deer.
or whatever out there, yeah. So,
Well, you had brought up that, well, it was a grant or whatever, that Tri-County grant, 40, whatever. What was that? Maybe Mike brought that up. think
I brought it up here a while back.
He brought it up a while
and
back. and
Mike
that
brought
was-
it up at the ED meeting.
Yeah.
Is there any,
I don't know if there would be anybody willing to do that, because I think a lot of them are in the same kind of budget we are. I mean,
right, it's,
the only way to get them bigger grants to do that is you're gonna have to consolidate several counties together.
Well, that's what we was looking at for that.
but it's still,
Highway 40, redoing it.
it's an 80 or 90% grant, so still, I mean.
You're gonna have matching.
Yeah.
You got whatever,
20%
30
there.
some miles or whatever, what is 30 miles across?
And like I said, that's gonna be a major project. So unless you got funding, because I mean,
Right,
that's
you're
gonna be
looking at
in
a
the,
couple million a mile, probably,
well, yeah.
to do it, and even if it's 90%,
Well, we'll be
It's
dead
still
gone
too-
too before it gets done.
well,
Like how
probably,
long it's been taking for Hell Creek Bridge. So.
Well, and that's just the thing, like with Highway 40, I mean, everybody, I drive it every day, everybody else does. It's deteriorating. Something's gonna have to be
It's
done
been
with
there a long
that in
time.
the future. Yeah,
Okay.
1929, 1930, I looked it up, is when Highway 40 was laid. So, I mean, yes, it's served its purpose,
And equipments keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
and
It's
they
just-
are, and it's,
That's all the
the
roads.
seams are popping pretty bad. West is really bad right now. East is getting to be that way, and we can go out there and put the asphalt patches on it. It's just putting a Band-Aid on it, because that asphalt doesn't stick to that concrete very well. So I mean, you're gonna do it, and then you're gonna turn around 2 more years, you're gonna do it again. So
well, we can't afford to dig up the concrete and redo it,
no, and we can't. So I mean, that's just the thing. We're gonna have to, but
keep putting a
I'm-
Band-Aid on it.
keep putting a Band-Aid on it, but I mean, my opinion, we need to start looking at the future on a lot of this stuff, because, it's gonna be probably well after we're gone. But if we don't start looking at it now, we're gonna get to the point to where there's not gonna be any roads. And I know out west, they're already in that situation. There's sections of Highway 40, they've tore up and went like gravel.
Did they?
Yep.
Which county do you know?
Wallace
Wallace is still there.
Wallace is,
Wallace,
which,
Wallace and Logan, I've driven those. It's Gove and
Trigo.
Trigo and Logan.
But-
There's a-
yeah.
Farm out there.
But I do know, I've talked to the guys at Wallace County, and they're actually looking at possibly, because the upkeep on them
I
is.
mean, Wallace is still a federal highway. They can't, because it's the route from.
Is it on that
It's
one?
the route from Oakley to Colorado. It's that shortest route to Colorado Springs.
Okay.
So that, I wouldn't worry about that one, because the feds just put a new bridge in out there.
Yeah.
Overstated, I mean.
When you leave the town of Ellis, it turns to sand all the way to Waukegan.
Okay.
Actually, it's gravel all the way to like
'Cause there's
Campus.
an
I think.
interstate
So
next
it's,
to
it's just east of Oakley where where it goes back to Blacktop
I
again.
know, 40 in Colorado is beautiful. Nobody out there driving on it either.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of trucks out of Lyman.
Yeah, it picks up, but we left Colorado Springs and came
That's not
straight.
40. That's why. 40 takes you to Lyman, and it disappears at Lyman.
Okay.
And it doesn't reappear until you get to Berthoud Pass.
Okay.
But it's gonna cost about as much to mill up the concrete, tear up the concrete, I imagine, as it was to overlay it.
If it gets to that point, we'll just mill it up and call it gravel.
That's what I mean, though, it's gonna cost as much to grind up that concrete or get it out of there or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
Do they mill that up and lay it back down, or do they?
Well, it's got rebar in it. I know that.
Does
So,
it?
yeah, because where it's popping over by Dorrance, I see the rebar.
Hmm.
So, but it does have rebar. So, I mean, it's basically going to be tore up, hauled off.
So any idea what it costs to do like a 2-inch overlay
Um,
as far as Russell to the county line?
I don't have the actual because of the oil situation.
Okay.
On there. But I know last year on our blacktops where we did the overlay and then our chip seal on which we did approximately 32 miles of chip sealing last year, and we did 5 miles of overlay. We spent, I'll find it here, on 197.5 miles of asphalt concrete road. We spent an average of $5,842.76 a mile.
But that's on every mile.
That figures across every mile.
So that
So,
doesn't tell us what it
It-
costs to overlay though.
yeah, which material just on the whole material, we spent 882,000. But that's our chip seal and our overlay.
So if you could get us a number on what it costs a mile to overlay,
Yeah.
and how big a overlay did you do?
We did inch to an inch and a half. It just kind of depended on where we were sagging is what we did on that last year.
You're talking with your blade.
With the blade, yes.
You know, time you get it compacted, it's probably about a half.
Yeah.
Time you get it
Yeah.
compacted down,
Should it be more?
it's gonna cost you more.
Well,
I understand that, but if you put twice as much on, is it gonna last 3 times as long?
Well,
Not necessarily.
not necessarily, because the thicker you put it on, the less compaction you're going to get on it. And that's why going over it with the chip seal, that's where you're going to get your longevity out of it.
I mean, if you're gonna do a 2-inch or a 3-inch overlay, you need to do the hot mix and
Yes.
have it laid down on the machine. That's what they're for.
Yeah. Just trying to do it with a blade is,
Just a little information on the state website. You go to Russell County's 2024 County Engineers Report, and it lists all the counties in Kansas, but Russell in 24, our evaluation was $114,770,409, okay? Our annual budget, that counts our special road and bridge and everything, is $4.8 million. 420 miles of roads we take care of. $273,262.88 per mile of road. That's what it's cost. If you break it down by the roads that we take care of in the county, so
2,000 and what?
that's 24.
I know it, but it was 2,000, not the dollar amount per mile.
273,000. This is per dollar valuation per mile of road.
And what was that number again?
$273,262. So valuation on that road is 200. That's what I'm saying on valuations. Assessed value was 114 million. Annual budget of 4.8. Spending per 1 mile valuation is 42,000.
So we spent $42,000 a mile, is that what it's saying?
Yes.
Now that includes averaging everything, bridges we put in and everything. I mean, they're averaging everything.
That's yes.
and that's just like, even like bridges. Even if they're on township roads, they're ours.
Oh yeah.
So,
Anything over 60-inch culverts.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Actually, I think it's 66. I believe it's 66. Yeah.
when they say anything over 5.5 foot is.
So. But on there, I mean, these guys put out a engineer. You got this year's engineer.
I do
report.
not have this year's engineer report, no, I did not.
Well, you 25. You should be just getting it done. Correct?
Yeah, I just got it done.
It breaks it down by township and what the township spend and everything in the county. And it's a good one to read because it
Yeah.
actually puts all the numbers together for the townships and the.
And,
the
and,
county
I, and I
puts-
can bring a copy of that in.
Yeah.
Maybe even Monday at the.
Well, I told Stephanie, I think we can get them because every year except for this year has been given to the county clerk, so.
Yeah.
It's
'cause
something to
it's
break
all-
down
it's all
and
done.
actually tells you where it's all being spent.
Yeah, because it's all done online now. You gotta do it
Oh, yeah.
online. So,
But they're showing a decline, that's across the whole state of maintenance on roads.
Yes.
I mean, right here, 25,
expenses
Version.
are,
you know, the expense, or the budget's going up and expenses, you know, maintenance on the road going down.
Yeah. And that's statewide.
That's statewide. And they're asking, what's it gonna be like in 10 to 20 years if this trend continues? It's just getting so costly to upkeep the roads out in the county.
Yeah.
And then ain't this county, I mean, city, they got same prices we got trying to keep their.
And that's just the thing, the roads and the bridges ain't going anywhere.
I think what's gonna happen in the future is if a bridge goes out and somebody's gotta drive 5 miles out of the way, they're gonna have to drive 5 miles out of the way.
And that's,
And you're gonna see that probably more and more across state, especially, and we got one of the largest counties that has, the county that has the most
bridges.
amount of bridges. The Pinco will tell you that.
Yeah. We are, because actually we were brought up at the little case.
And we got one of the largest ones too, that, which is Hell Creek, that should have been a state bridge, but county ended up with it somehow years ago.
Special president.
Yeah, president of the state.
And actually, as far as
Years ago.
our blacktop roads and all that stuff, we're in the top 2 in the state of how much blacktop we take care of also.
Martin County takes care of a lot, but then they don't take care of no,
But they don't have any gravel.
they don't have no gravel roads, that's right.
Yeah.
Kansas has the 4th largest miles of blacktop in the country.
I think it's Hodgman County that has one bridge.
Yeah.
One.
We got 600.
Yeah,
We
we
got
we
some
got
that.
about
we give you
200.
200.
Them,
We're shy of
them
200.
fractional critical ones is the ones we
Yeah.
need to be watching, because they've been there a long time.
Yeah.
That's the ones, everyone,
And that's just the thing. We have a lot of stone arch out there yet, and
that one side of Bunker Hill.
Yeah.
The cement's coming up, I'm telling you, because you start to see rebar out there.
well, we
Yeah,
got
no,
some
just-
out on that Stroh Road too. I don't.
North of Bunker Hill, what is
200
that,
first.
Salt Creek Road,
Mhm.
clear north, right past Daubers.
Right.
Yeah.
Salt Creek.
Salt
It heads
Creek.
west. There's, I think there's 2 of those limestone arch bridges within like a couple miles, and I was doing some fence for Yost, and well, the limestone from the
Did-
sides is
it's-
laying in the bottom of the ditch.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's all coming apart.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean,
coming apart.
there's
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
what we-
these bridges that
And that's
That
some of the
needs some
reason
work.
why, we all started looking at them half culverts, because if they're small enough,
yeah,
Marsh
doing
bridges
the
are
half
considered-
tanks, yeah.
we have to take care of them, but
Yeah.
we can put them in.
Which is what we had to do. What I did out there on that Michaelis Blacktop when that
Yes.
one failed this year, or last year. We put that.
So
half-
it's showing you,
so,
20 over,
increase of last year, right?
20,000. Is that
20,000.
correct?
no, it's like
Did I look
200.
at the wrong one?
You have it
20,000,
20,000.
yeah.
20.
Now you're a line item of the maintenance of building and ground improvements, what's all that entail.
That's the upkeep on the shop and all the buildings out there.
I didn't know if there's anything extra this year that you had added into that, or
No, I mean, with what I've got in that, it should be good. I am gonna have to get a new oil burner because ours burned out this for our waste oil heater in the shop, but
And what about the piping underneath?
then the piping underneath, which I still have not got a price on what it's gonna cost to tear up all the
Are they
concrete
looking at
and
just
redo
leaving
that.
that, or
No,
are you
because
gonna,
it's got too many turns.
so you're gonna be in there breaking that
You're
concrete?
gonna have to tear the concrete out. And like I said, that goes under walls and everything else, and it's gonna be a major overhaul on that, but
is there a way to reroute that? I have no idea.
It's all
You're
under
still gonna-
concrete.
you're still gonna have to,
yeah.
Concrete.
I mean,
and the bad part of it is a lot of the ductwork and stuff runs right along that sewer line for your heat and air. So, I mean,
They buried that in concrete.
Okay.
Yep.
That was efficient. Okay.
But actually, that's a good question.
But-
If we were to tear it up to fix it, can you reroute it to make it just like straight so that we're not dealing with current?
Well,
well, no, you
have
still
to-
got, cause you got sinks, you got bathrooms in different locations. I mean, yeah, unless you put them all on one straight line, I mean, you're still gonna have, but then you'd have to revamp the whole office.
Right.
So, in order to do that. But like the oil burner, I mean, I do want to replace that because that does save us a lot of money and during the winter on gas because burning our used old waste oil. So,
How many gallons do you pick up from guys too?
we pick it up clear throughout the year. I mean, we've got enough capacity to hold 7, 12, about 1,800 gallon
Yeah.
and capacity, and we'll go through that at least twice. So, yeah, I mean, we usually have some totes that waiting to be dumped in there in between. So,
Yeah, I got a partial one myself for you.
What would it look like to grade the roads 25% less?
if we did that, I actually kind of just roughly figured in, I gotta find it here, at 20% less. I didn't go 25, but I mean, we already do have a few roads that I got my operators together and just kind of went through, and they do have some roads that they're already doing kind of minimum maintenance on. They blade them about once a month, maybe once every other month. So we're already doing some of that, but if we would knock that down with what we're doing, 20% less, we could save about $91,453. But then if we ever would get rain, you're gonna have a lot of people complaining because,
They do anyway.
and they do, yes. So,
Is that just in?
but I mean, we got to kind of keep, especially during the school year, we got school routes. You got to kind of keep them up, mail routes. So where we're already kind of going minimum on some of these, I don't see how we can back off too much more.
Is that 91,000 of just your labor costs?
Yes. Well, that'd be labor and the equipment cost.
That includes the
Yeah.
equipment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
that'd
what
be back.
do we have to go through to, cause we could give some of these county roads back to the township. No?
They're gonna take them.
Huh?
No, they don't want it either.
But nobody ever hollers about the township spending any money.
That's not, well, but that doesn't mean that, but you don't have to accept a gift. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, we kept
We
the
just give them to them,
operator
they
in.
don't take care of them, then I guess we've been with maintenance, but
Well, and that's, but I don't know that you can force them to take them back if they're yours now.
And I do know a lot of the townships are already have theirs marked at minimum maintenance. I mean,
you see more and more of it out there.
Waldo Township is a big one. I mean, about 90% of his roads.
Fairview, there's a lot.
Fairview, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So, I mean, are they gonna take them back where they were already knocking
Well,
them
I
back? I doubt it.
It's just gonna have to be looked at.
What would you have to cut, Justin, if we'd say we're gonna cut your budget 5%? What would that look like? What would you have to do?
If I would do that, I would honestly, in order to keep our roads decent, what I would cut would be our mowing. Because if I could cut my mowing, gotta find that here.
Is that 300? I don't know what you say.
That would save me,
100,000.
yeah, if I cut it in half, or say we even did just, if I cut it in half, it'd save us about $50,000 a year in equipment and labor. But we could cut that back, even more to where we only do gravel roads once a year.
Well, here's my personal opinion. If we wanna cut budgets, let's give them what they want. Then we're gonna cut everybody across the board, 5%, not just road and bridge.
Well, I'm just asking.
Well, I'm just saying, because I know where it's going. Because I'm telling you what, if we cut 10% or 5%, we've done that in the past. back when I was the first home, we made them cut 10% across the board. It's not pretty trying to make that up. When that budget crashes or the mill levy drops, you're in trouble. We've been through it once before. It's tough. I mean, it is tough. You know, when we went through that 14 or whatever it was. But my problem is, let's give them what they want. If that's what everybody wants, then let's quit grading some roads. Let's quit patching the blacktop. That's where the asphalt's where your money's at. And it costs a lot of money to keep these asphalts up. Yeah, they don't cost overall because you're not maintaining them every day or every week or whatever like you do gravel roads, but it's costly. You know, when you're talking $20,000 a damn mile to just to chip seal, it's a lot of money. Is that where we really want to go? We got some of the best blacktops around the country. I remember that one North Bar Hill used to be terrible when I went to school in the 70s to Luray. That was bad. I mean, bounce around and throw you around in the holes, and we don't have that no more. But I don't want to go back to that. Yeah.
Well, the problem is if you make major cuts and then figure out you screwed up, and then they put a stupid cap on, you're done.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get caught up.
And the thing of it is too is, and I went through and just our repairs. I mean, parts are going up,
Yeah.
and about 90% of it we're trying to do in house with our own mechanic, but some of it we do have to farm out. But I know since January of 2024 to March 31st of 26, just on our trucks, we have spent $145,000 in parts. Just parts. The rest of the equipment, our loaders, our heavy equipment, graders, motors, trailers, spreaders, pickups, in just a 1 year span of 25 last year, we spent $136,908. Or $908.18, excuse me, on parts. That is a total for parts for, well, the trucks I did the January 24 to March, you know, but the pickups and the other equipment only did 25. So far in that time frame, we've spent $281,908 on repairs.
And all the pickups now are under warranty though. aren't they?
Pickups are, so that should come off. So, but we only spent, last year we spent 28,000 on repairs on pickups, so on parts. But now that we're getting them into this cycle, that should drop off. So that should help us out.
Under warranty.
But the thing I'm looking at when I was working on my budget was, so far, this is just January, the first quarter, January to March, just on trucks. We have already spent $45,000 in parts.
That's reflective of an aging fleet.
That is.
Mhm.
And the bad part of it is, as they are aging, we're gonna see this cost go up. Okay, I budgeted in $140,000 for parts. I'm already at damn near 50,000 the first quarter. I'm not gonna make that 140,000 by the end of December.
And that's mostly on dump trucks or?
The majority of that is on our dump trucks. But we also have a lot more on, you know, we spent just last year 36,000 on parts for motor graders. We spent $32,000 just on loaders. And then the loaders, all that entails is our two loaders, big loaders that we have, and then our Bobcats. That's all that entails. I have one truck out there since January of 24 to March 31st of 26. I have spent $51,000 on it, and it's in the shop right now getting more put into it.
And that's 2 years, 24 and 25?
Yep. That is.
And something else we need to look at when you're thinking about cutting his budget is we still don't know what Hell Creek Bridge is gonna cost.
Is that meeting at the end of the month?
That is the 30th,
30th.
yes, at 11 a.m.
So,
And that's what we got the other two budgets for.
right, but when in the beginning, it started at 2.1 million. Last meeting we had, it's 5.1 million.
Yes.
And if
How
we
much
could,
is the state contributing for that?
1.5. The feds is, 1.6. Wildlife and Parks is putting at 900,000.
So that's almost 4. Sorry.
No, you're fine, so we got
Well,
600,000.
Our share was 1 point.
No,
Our original share, from what I
So
understand with this starting off, was supposed to be 400,000.
right, because it
Our
started,
original, yeah,
the project started out at $2.1 million when it
Right.
started. So now, at the last, well, the second to the last meeting, it was 4.1 million yet, and then 6 months later, it jumped to 5.1 million. And we're not gonna do the project for 2 years yet,
yeah, that's for
Not slated till
2028.
20.
because however you wanna word it, we were promised the money, the flat federal lands access program money in 18, but we weren't gonna get it till 28. Well, I don't know if that's when, I think they kept pushing it out,
They
we was
kept
gonna
pushing
get it
it out,
earlier, but anyway, now it's 28.
Engineering costs outweigh the actual repair.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that.
It's
So
all said and
the
done,
last
it's
meeting, it
6
was
million.
gonna be 5.1,
Right,
and you have 4 million of that coming from outside funds.
yes,
Yes. Yep. First, they weren't going to. Wildlife parks weren't going to.
well, they threatened to shut down the bridge. You can't mute me.
We don't.
We
Never
threatened,
got to.
they was only gonna give 100,000, we threatened to shut down the bridge, so they get more money then, but,
And that's just, where you're on
And
the
that
top
we'll know more here on the, 17th or
30th.
30th, yeah. Where,
But-
where you're on the topics of bridges, I mean, that's one thing too, with the new federal regulations on bridge inspections. Our inspections are gonna be up because of all the new, and
Yeah, because they got more.
they have more stuff that they have to do, so it is gonna cost us a lot more, and that's a legal thing. They have to be inspected.
Can I ask a question about that?
Mhm.
At that first meeting this year, the PinTad or whatever the
Pinco,
guys,
yeah.
he said that increased cost was only gonna be for this first year to gather that initial data.
To get that, but, I mean, it's still gonna be going down the road, yeah, that first initial is gonna be. But then every time they come in, I mean, they're not gonna go down in price over time.
That's the
I
way
mean,
he- That's the way he presented it to you guys.
for the
Yeah,
first
that's
initial
what they're
deal,
hoping
yeah,
to do, unless they
that's what
keep.
they're hoping, but I know when he was there Wednesday and they, like he said, the prices are well above what they had even estimated or what it's gonna take. So, yeah, we might see after this first year, some deduction, but it's still gonna be up from what it has been
Cause I thought,
because of the labor.
Jason was the
But-
one, maybe Jason or Alan were the ones that asked him.
Yeah.
Specifically, is this
Yeah.
just 1 year or is this
Yeah.
continuous? And he said no, that it.
Yeah, it would be 1 year, but then like going down the road, I mean, once,
It was like more data sets that they had.
That-
That they had.
yeah,
They
that they had to
had
get
initial
set,
put in
yeah,
the
getting
data
all that set up, but I mean, and that's just the thing, so, we do have a lot more expense in that this year.
And it's typical federal. I don't understand it, like when we go out, they have to inspect them ones south Bunker Hill, south of Lawrence, them fractional critical bridges. Pinco has to inspect them. Then the state comes in, they do their inspection, then they do their underwater inspections. So they're getting inspected 3 times, then fractional critical.
Yeah.
Why? Why don't you just pay for one inspection and get them all done? Why do we,
because it's cheaper that way.
and we pay for all of them. I mean, and they,
Yeah.
Pinco just get paid, the states get paid with their inspectors coming out.
But here's another thing we've been asked, like on Hell Creek Bridge, why don't you just shut it down and do it? But the problem is, if you ever, and this is my understanding, that if you ever turn down a federal or state grant, you're not gonna get another one.
Well, if we're locked in now, we
And
can,
we
we
actually-
pull out now, we're gonna be,
One of our, meetings with the US Department of Transportation and asked them if we could bypass KDOT and have Penco engineer it and cut the states out of it. And they said, I don't see why not, but then KDOT,
took their
They-
money out.
basically, for lack of a better word, put the fear of God into the engineer.
So how much does the county have set aside now for Hell Creek Bridge?
We have
Right.
400.
600.
400 and some thousand.
About 637,000.
Well, then we got budgeted for 27. We got two more budgets to do it. We got,
I do
That's
have,
just money Janine just set aside just for Hell Creek.
Right, right.
but we do
600,
have money in
37,700.
special bridge and special road and bridge.
We could tap in, that's what they're there for.
Right.
If we need to.
and I do have, 150,000 budgeted in for
To
Hell
transfer.
Creek, to transfer to the Hell Creek.
I mean, we could,
So you're about halfway there if you're responsible for 1.25.
right, and, what is
Problem
it?
is the costs continuing to increase every year, that this
We're
doesn't get
hoping.
done, and that we keep pushing the deadline back, and this thing just going
Yeah, I understand.
crazy.
Just trying to get a grip on where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, and I asked too, because they got an engineer on site, the government does. Why can't they stay in one of them cabins that are at the lake? And that way they don't have,
They'll try to slide it.
you know, let them pay that, or, you know, let the
Or
government give that for part of theirs, then you don't have travel. You don't have lodging that that could be cut out of there. So I don't know how that's gonna work, but we're working on that.
that would make too much sense, Duke.
Well, I know it, and here's the problem, they will not stay in Russell, I bet you. They'll drive to Hayes or Salina.
I bet the lodge would love to have them long-term.
So, yeah, I mean, we're doing everything we can, but it's just, the problem is we don't know what the cost,
Right.
if we knew what the cost would be, it would be easier. You know, you don't wanna over budget for it, but you don't wanna be caught
Right.
short when it.
Well, I think on that last email we got, didn't it state that they found some other new for decking?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
they did.
So
Yeah.
it could be a chance it could be really dropping in price.
Yeah, because that was
So,
one of the questions we
yeah.
had in the last meeting, do we have to use this decking that you're suggesting, because it's so much more specifically?
Cause this was a new type of decking that was just coming out with that they were, I know we had talked about that. When I met with them.
But they have used them in Kansas before and
Yeah,
Nebraska.
they have, so they do have some out there, so they're seeing how they're holding up. So I mean, yeah, that'd be,
We really don't want to be a guinea pig.
no, not really.
So you know a little bit more on the.
We already
30th.
got that on the
Yeah.
fiberglass bridge.
Yeah.
We should have on the 30th, what is it, 95%?
It's our 95%.
Plans completed and,
Wow, hell.
yeah. And I think they figured in their pricing, was it 4% a year
4 or 5%,
Percent.
yeah, is what they had.
inflation, so. And, you know, to me, they had like the rocker arms on the bridge, they had an astronomical amount
Yeah,
to do that. And to me, you know, if you say it fast, it's easy, but I mean, to me, other than the ones over the water,
yeah, I don't see.
you know,
why-
you could do two of them columns that appears a day.
Yeah.
You know, you put 100-ton jack under it, you jack it up and you, yeah, so. Anyway, we're doing our part to try to keep the cost down, but we just don't know what the cost is at this point. And we don't wanna drain our other bridge funds. If you have other bridges go out and then you don't have money to fix them.
Justin,
Mhm.
back to I'm not trying to get off the bridge thing. What is the difference between like when you're mowing and you let crap get tall at an intersection from not mowing it or not being able to see because there's 4 fields with corn on each side and you can't see anyway. So liability wise, what's the difference between a farmer screwing it up or the county? I don't know.
Well, we're,
I-
and actually there and actually there was that situation down south
Yeah, we
this
had
last summer. And it was a farmer farming up to the road. They still went after the county because it is the county's responsibility to make sure that they don't have their stuff in our right of way.
So the county's supposed to go tell the farmer to cut the corn down?
Yes, because we have
We
right of
have,
way.
we actually, the county has the right to go in and mow it
And
down,
mow it
I
off.
believe.
There's
We
a
do.
section
Whatever.
on the sight line, if it's a certain angle, you gotta have a certain angle
Yes.
across the intersection. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's like, I wanna say it's like measure from the center point of the intersection's gotta be back so far every direction that you have a sight line of 45
Yes.
degrees.
That's what's bad when you start seeing the fence rows coming out alongside the road, you know where they're headed. They're heading
We had
down
one
to
a
the
couple of
ditch.
years ago out here just right south of town. Well, that's our farm mile on 184th. They had corn there the same way, and you couldn't see around that one either. So
Yeah, they put stop signs there.
they
Yeah.
did.
And
Cause
that's,
they got where they planting feed and you couldn't see nothing. So they put stop signs out there. That made some of them mad, so they pulled stop signs out, so we back out there putting up again.
They were still the other
They're
day,
there
so-
now.
Just pulled them out, huh?
Pull them out, leave like for their safety.
Do we know what it would cost, like chip sealing and stuff like that, to contract it out rather than us doing it?
well, that's the one thing I need to find out. Last year, it was running about $18,000 to $20,000 a mile. This year, I'm sure it's gonna be more because of oil prices.
Right, whether we do it or they do it, but that's what it cost us.
No, what it costs us, I've got it figured in at about, it costs us about 14,000 a mile. So you're looking at 4,000 to 5,000, give or take.
But we're doing it all, where the others would be
Yeah.
just, well,
That would just be just chip sealing.
that's just a chip
18
machine.
to, yeah, that's just,
Once our chip machine would probably go to crap, we couldn't fix it anymore. That might be the way we have to look at it, but.
Is that what takes everybody off the graders and everything for so long?
it did last year, yes,
It always
because of the number of employees. Now I have gotten a few more hired. I've got about 5 hired so far. And so bringing our numbers back up a little where we can actually do more than one project at a time.
Okay.
So I should be able to utilize my blade operators on their blades this year. Leave them out.
I mean, cause you always you got 2 on the chip spreader, you got 2 on rollers, you got 2 flagging. It's helped getting automated.
It has,
Lights.
that has cut down.
Some of that, but
That cuts it down to one person because we can run our
then you
pilot
got-
car.
5 trucks out there.
6.
Well, yeah, but you can run with 5. if
Yeah,
have
you
to.
can if you have to, but depending on where you're hauling from, but.
Going back to the dump trucks a little bit, Justin,
Mm-hmm.
is it safe to say it's costing us at least $25,000 a year in repairs on dump trucks?
Let's see, in 24, it cost us $65,000 in parts. In 2025, it cost us $52,000 in parts. This is just on trucks. So, and like I said, the first quarter of this year, we're already almost to 50,000.
How many trucks?
That is on
Probably
1,
7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's on 10 trucks because we have the water truck and we also have the distributor. So, which the water truck doesn't cost that much on the parts. So we're using that just on wetting roads and doing stuff like that. So expense as far as the water truck isn't.
So
as
5
bad.
dump trucks and 2 road trucks, basically.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Most is probably the dump trucks up there.
5. Yeah. 6 dump trucks and 2 day cabs.
We got a new day cab
So
coming.
We got a new
2
day
out
cab
of the
coming.
2 out of them 6 are the newest ones, 18 and 19.
2 Peterbilts.
2 Peterbilt.
Yeah.
The others are all,
And those in the, let's see, 42 and 50. And we spent so far, first quarter this year, we've already spent $2,300 on one in parts and $2,600 in parts on the other one, and those are our newest trucks. In 25, we spent 4,500 on one and 6,800 on another one in parts.
But they're already 6 years old, so I
They
mean,
are, yeah. So I
8
mean,
years old.
they're we're starting to get to where they're creeping up on repairs.
Kanika, did you want
Can I,
to?
can I, I'm sorry, can I ask a question? I know I was a little late getting here, I'm sorry. So you might have already covered this, but how many county just pickups do we have?
Pickups, we have
Probably about 10, don't we?
trying to- 8, 9, 10, yeah, there's 10 altogether.
And did you switch all those over to that lease program?
Not all of them.
Not all,
yet.
yeah, they're not all
Didn't we
switched
do
yet.
it?
We got 8.
They done two
So
together.
those are all the new ones?
Those are all the
Okay.
Eight are.
Yeah,
Yeah, 8 of
Okay.
them. Yep.
So those are the ones under warranty?
Yes,
Yeah.
So what happened to the old pickups?
They're
They-
selling them.
selling.
Some of the fire departments bought a few of them,
Yeah.
So that's why they're all lined up out there,
and the others gonna be.
Yeah, they're
ready to
sold
go to
on
labor
purple, yeah.
shops?
Yeah, Purple Wave, yeah.
Okay, and do you have an equipment improvement fund set up, a maintenance fund that,
Yeah, special machinery.
Special
Special
machinery
machinery.
fund, which we take our new stuff out of and buy our new stuff out of, yes.
but not these repairs and parts and,
That's
that's
just right.
just
It gets
every
to the
year?
point where,
No, it's just a
That'd be
line
like
item
graders
budget.
and loaders and dump trucks and things like that. We buy out of that fund.
Oh, I was just thinking of repairs and
yeah,
things
he
like that.
figures that usually in his yearly budget anyways,
Yeah.
repairs, but
That's
we
just
go over,
thrown
we
in
go
dart
over.
every year.
Yeah,
Depends on what breaks.
Well, I understand that, that's what I'm saying, you're just throwing a dart at that.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
have no idea from
You-
year to year.
no.
But we do have a
If we have to
special
put a
equipment.
motor in like one truck, it'd be 25,000 for a motor,
Right,
you know.
but you
at
have
least.
regular
Yeah.
maintenance that the county employees do on?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We do about their shop there.
Yeah, we service them all out there.
Just to back up a little bit, Justin, because I didn't write it down, I was on two now on graders, you said we spent about 35,000 so far in repairs?
36,000 is what we spent last year.
And
36.
them are the ones that aren't under warranty, correct?
Yes, and I've got 50 hours left on one that's under warranty, and the other one's got, I think, maybe 150 hours before it's out of warranty, so.
And then we don't have any graders
And we
under
have no
warranty.
blades on warranty.
That's what I thought.
So none of our heavy equipment is leased, it's all owned,
It's all
So-
owned.
and there's no maintenance programs for those?
They are, you can buy the
You can-
extended maintenance program,
Maintenance, yeah.
but we do our own oil changes out there too.
Oh, so that would
So-
cover that, if you
Yeah.
had extended warranty, you have to have them change the oil. and do all
Extended
that.
warranty, yeah, is actually, that is into, but
They pull the oil samples and everything and then change the oil and service and let us know if there's something going
So the
south.
8 new trucks that are under lease, will they all come due to renew at the same time, or do you have them on rotation?
they will go on a rotation, and the way it works is Enterprise will actually kind of keep track of that for us. The way they do that, and like if we got, say, one that's getting, say, 60,000 miles on it and the market's good, they'll make the suggestion of, well, maybe we ought to turn this one now. But all in all, it's all up to us whether we do that or not.
Right,
We
right,
don't
We don't have
but
to,
right.
so,
Okay.
but,
That's it. I think Max Tech has their general fleet
Yeah.
program similar to
Yeah.
that, so.
but this
I
will
was just
just, this
curious
will
if
just
they
kind
were
of
all
help.
gonna come due at the same time,
Staggered.
that would
They're
make.
staggered.
we're
Yeah.
not
Hold
extended.
on.
Going, starting off here, yes, it was all at one shot, but going down the road, it's gonna,
It'll be in rotation.
it'll be into a rotation,
Okay,
so, yes. That way we can kind of keep, if we can keep them to where we got warranty on them and we can still get some equity back off of them,
exactly,
it keeps our maintenance costs down on
exactly.
having them under warranty.
Plus keeps you some equity in there. That was
Yes.
my concern, if they all were gonna roll over at the same time, we were gonna be right back in the same
Yeah.
spot,
No.
so to speak.
No, That,
That's the
They-
only one
they
we're
man-
gonna discuss.
The enterprise manages that aspect of
Are
it.
we gonna go into the special bridge or,
Yeah, we
I mean,
can.
they're all,
Yeah, they're all pretty much.
cause also Justin's, we have a special bridge and a special road and bridge funds too. And they're set aside for, mainly for the structures, bridge structures. So we try to keep them at, the 430,000 a year in them funds. That way if something does happen, we got some funds to start building the bridge or like if we're short on the Hell Creek, we can come to these and take the money out of there to pay for Hell Creek. So.
So like on the
And I
health
think
rate,
we have used some of this too and moved to Hell Creek
Yes.
specifically at start. I know.
right,
yeah.
and that, well, we did
Yeah.
carry it, now we got a line item, I think,
Right.
is it
Yeah, there is
special
a
bridge
line,
or
yeah.
special road and
Special
bridge.
bridge there is.
So what comes out of capital improvement fund?
For the courthouse,
Overall, that's just courthouse stuff. That just
Just the
mainly
courthouse?
here.
well, like last year, we had an air conditioner go out of the 4-H building. There
We had
was,
trouble with this one too.
Yes.
Yes.
Boilers.
but,
It
so
just-
the 4-H fund, the building, I mean, we levy 85,000, that's what the maintenance budget is for, the 4-H grounds. But we didn't have the money, so that come out of capital improvement.
The pipe project
The
at
pipe,
4-H is about to come out of capital.
I think the air conditioner
Yep.
that went out of the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
Come out of capital improvement.
And I know to have the capital improvement fund, you have to have a capital improvement plan, like 3 years.
No, we don't.
I've never, if that's true, I'd need to get to work on one. I've never been told that.
I think that's a state statute.
Any reserve funds you have to have a plan, a basic plan saying how you're gonna expend those funds
Huh.
to show the public, and you have to vote on that at least once a year. So like the cities, for our general fund, we have an equipment reserve and we have a capital improvement. And after our budget passes, the next meeting, we have to approve those plans for how we plan to exceed, how we plan to expend
We
those
don't
funds.
plan on it, somebody makes us spend it.
What doesn't,
Yeah, well.
doesn't that where some of our sales tax goes?
It's-
Yeah, no, I'm not doubting that at all. I just, if that's the case, I wanna
Yeah.
get
The
on it.
statute says that you can't save money just to save money, you have to save money for a specific purposes.
But then how do you save for purposes that you don't know?
You start forecasting ahead and say like, okay, we plan these
We think the
AC
boiler
units
might go
are
out.
gonna need to go out or on a 10-year.
We got plenty of that.
Have you ever video, is that, you guys ever done that before? Okay, I'll look into it and get it going. I just,
Oh, no, they set that up, that capital improvement. They set all of that up when they done their half-cent sales tax. That's where the half-cent sales tax goes into.
State statute 19-120.
thank you very much.
Welcome.
But
And just because it's in the plan and something new comes up, doesn't mean you can't change.
That's
it.
a
Right.
working document. We
Yeah,
did-
it's,
we
it
got
just
about
gives you
maybe
guys
3 to 5 years.
something looking ahead to forecast that, hey, we may need XYZ in 3 years coming up to start saving away for that stuff.
Well, I think that's where all the money went, because that was where they paid for this courthouse, new part of the courthouse, out of capital improvement. That's where all the half-cent sales tax went for them, all them years, that was on. And then they finally got their 3.5 million or whatever it was that we paid for this. That's where it all came out. It was capital improvements. I know that time when we built the courthouse.
I'll talk to Dan. Dan, you and I will talk. I see it says may establish by
There's a lot of
adoption.
nays in there.
A lot of mays by adoption of a resolution
There's no shells.
or
Yeah.
rules. But anyway, I'll definitely look into it.
Well, did anybody else have anything on road and bridge?
on that later, have to bring you back. or
Right,
something.
yeah.
That's a review.
This is just the first go around.
Yeah.
We might touch on special bridge, and special road bridge. Don't mind.
Can I ask a stupid question?
No stupid question.
On 193 bridges, do we have a category on the bridge? Like this is a bridge we need, this is a bridge we might not need, or this is the least needed bridges?
Depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
Every one of them bridges is the most important bridge in the county.
I am talking to you five guys right now. Because all, there's two bridges that are important to me and 191 I really don't care about.
Right.
But I mean, do you have a classification where you go like, okay, in case we do not have a dime left, these are the ones that are gone, these are the ones that are minimum, and these are we definitely keep up forever?
I think it'll be a case on it, in my opinion. I won't speak for the rest of them, but in my opinion, it'd be a case by case. So, one of
So
these,
basically what you're saying, it depends on what commissioner we have. Some of the bridges are important and the other bridges are not that important.
well, I guess there's probably some truth to that.
Okay.
And you'd have to look at it, okay, how many people is this gonna inconvenience? How many miles are they gonna have to drive? Does somebody live just on the
Yeah,
other
but
side of the bridge?
What he's talking about, that's it, it's pretty much his only way in and out, so.
Well, and that's
Well, he's
just,
just using that as a.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying,
Right.
Yeah.
like,
So-
so they'd have to be fixed.
Right, you'd have to look at,
Somebody had to go all the way that way to get out of their
You know, if
house,
it's 2
but that
mile- if
bridge
it's-
was
Yeah,
probably-
Again, but on this part is, I mean, if you want to point at me, there is no other way around.
Right.
So there's, if then bridge Z dies and there's 4 other ways around,
There is,
then
there is another way. The city of Russell could give you an easement across that property. You can come out there with no bridge at all,
let's see,
theoretically.
I don't drive to your house, so it's not
well, I can
important.
get on the interstate and go right on the interstate too if I wanted.
That would really be bad.
Like I said, I think it would be a case, like, yours goes out, you can't get across, that's one you'd have to fix. But if the one, somebody's only gotta drive 4 miles around, that might not be a
Again, I
problem.
don't want to stir the pot, and
No.
I'm just wondering, do we have that? Because, listening to all that, and 5 years from now, we're gonna be at the point where we can't afford. to
Well,
do
and that may
anymore.
change 5 years from now.
Does PIMCO make a list of like priority bridges and stuff?
yeah,
As far as like
yeah, they have, they,
the repairs.
which I don't have the list because they just got done doing inspections, but
As
do
of 24,
Roads get way more traffic than others.
we have 79 bridges in good shape, 111 in fair, and 4 in poor.
Exactly.
If you go to their website, it shows you exactly where they're at on the map,
Exactly.
where the poor ones are.
But it's essentially up to us to decide high
Right.
priority.
Right.
Right.
Or this.
So we have 501,901 square feet of bridge decks in the county. So,
and the thing we gotta look at too, as far as prioritizing them, like you say, it's gonna be on a case-to-case basis, because you gotta stop and think too, okay, what about EMS? What about fire? I mean, there's a lot of things you have to look at, so,
Right.
I mean, that's why I think on a case-by-case basis is what you have to look at. I mean, if you don't have somebody within 2 miles of living on that, then yeah, it's probably something you could close, but
Justin, it goes back to just like the one Dan said they're wanting to vacate out north,
yes.
that road.
Yeah.
That sits out in the middle of pasture. Maybe the farmer uses it or whoever, but it sits out there and it's a bridge that the Corps engineer put in years ago.
Well, the one they want to vacate is not, there's no bridge on that one. I looked at, you're 2 different roads.
Well, I'm, okay, so it's not the one you're talking about. But anyway, it sits out there. We still have to do bridge inspections on it.
Bridge to nowhere.
And it's just an emergency route out for back then when these people had to get out of if we had major flooding, it's like they had to have a route out.
Yeah.
So it sits out. It's just like a path down through there, but the bridge is there.
Yeah.
We have to maintain that and keep it there.
Yeah.
Doesn't say in the back the roads have to be maintained, but the bridge has to stay there for these people can get out.
Because
Then we have to keep the bridge because that's our only way of egress
yes.
Yes.
out of the property.
No. I understand it, but
Yeah.
after all, they don't have the housing like where his parents lived. Yes, they probably got other routes out of it now compared to what they used to have, but most of us ain't gonna wait till the lake's gonna be at the door either.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
But they had a lot more people living out in the country back then
Well,
when they built the lake.
in '93, that was the only way they could get it.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, that since out there, nobody really gets any use out of it, but in case of emergency, 93, they got to use it. You know, but that's an expense. We have to have it inspected every year. So far, as long as I've been here, we ain't had to spend no money on it. But that don't mean it ain't coming.
So the state mandates what bridges you have to keep and have. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, on that one there,
On
they
that
did
one there.
because that was a special made for the lake out there.
Okay,
They told us we can't get rid of that one because that's an escape route for the lake.
sure, okay. But the state doesn't necessarily mandate all the bridges that you have to keep.
Not that I know of.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
we had the
I didn't
power
know
to
that.
close that road, to close the bridge.
I guess that'd be a question for Dan. That's like up there where Kai lives.
I close it.
Well,
Not your
But-
friend.
That's township.
we couldn't close that bridge because that's his only way out of there.
That's when you never can close against there.
Right.
Right, you have to provide ingress and
Well, there-
egress.
Right.
Right.
4 houses back there,
But-
now, right? There's
Some
4
of these
houses.
that are just out there,
Right.
middle of nowhere.
You know,
There's
hell,
a
they
bridge
get
here, and a
traveled.
mile over, there's a bridge, and a mile over, there's a
That's
bridge,
what's
and a mile over,
called.
there's a
Right.
bridge. You would have some discretion
Right.
on some of those.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bar.
I didn't know.
Bar.
That's-
Kind of a call.
All right, does anybody have any, on special road and bridge, I guess I'm gonna speak for you here, the budget 435,000, but out of that 435,000, 150,000, I'll wait till they're done talking.
Okay.
Out of that 435,000, 100. Are we done?
We can't hear when you guys are conversing.
Out of the $435,000 budget, 150,000 of it is budgeted for Hill Creek Bridge.
Right.
Anybody have any questions on?
No, that would hardly ever
Right,
change.
so that's some money we could take. I done just some rough scratching here with the money we have in reserves for special bridge and special road and bridge. And then what we plan to levy for 27 and 8 and what we have in it, about $1.3 million.
So we're close to what we.
Not that we wanna take the reserves out, cause if we have bridges go down, but if we had to, we could.
It's too bad since they're planning on a 4%, they've got those factored in, a 4% inflation rate. It's too bad that doesn't apply to the money they're giving you as well.
Amen, amen.
I've tried.
Good luck.
Well, I've even talked to Moran's office and, trying to get more, and it ain't.
Our 4% goes up, but their 4%.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
I gotta talk to, well, I called Warren Gefeller about it because he's on the Wildlife and Parks Commission. And I gotta talk to him this week about something else, but I may bring that up again.
Yeah, cause realistically, that bridge is more important to the Corps and the wildlife and parks than it is us.
It's fascinating to me that on a federal level, and this is I'm happy about this, but the city of Russell was able to get 12 million for downtown, 13.5 million to revitalize our downtown,
Right,
from Jerry Moran.
you can't get money for infrastructure.
Yeah, and it's,
Gotta be some politics involved somewhere.
Yeah, so who made Jerry mad here?
Nobody likes to look at just concrete they can't see on a bridge.
Well, and the thing of it is, like, as
Nobody
far as,
likes to see a bridge collapse either.
yeah, that's,
but the bad part of it is that's all money like in the psych program that the state has, which is about ready to go under. So they're trying to get another one going. But a lot of that money, they don't have it stipulated in to where it's evenly distributed through the state. So 90% of that money, and we had that discussion the other day, is all going Johnson County, Wyandotte County, because They have the population.
The big four.
Yep.
That's where it goes. We don't exist.
They
Well,
want, they
good or
want to
bad, at least
reword
you'll have a
that.
new governor by the time the bridge
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, I don't know, I
Careful
think,
what you wish for, I know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
read an article on one of them that was running that it's the local governments caused this problem, they need to fix it. Well, it started at the state. Special road and bridge. Is that where, well, your aggregate comes out of?
Well, yeah, I've got some of that figured in as far as like,
Most of the aggregate stuff comes out of his regular road and bridge,
Yeah.
but he's got some.
I've
figured
got
in.
some put into here for, you know, which, like last year on mine, I did not, I forgot about that being my first year, but I could have pulled some of that out as far as our chip sealing stuff
Right.
and utilized it there, but
Yep.
that kind of covers too, is our salt. We can pull out of there, or chip rock.
See, another thing that's gonna affect our budgets, I don't know where we're gonna start getting rock and gravel from. I'm telling you. Steinley's, I mean, he's got some there, but
Didn't he open a new pit?
man, he's got one, I don't know if he got totally open yet, but I know he's got another spot marked and they've cored it and all that. Got the dirt off of it. But we're gonna get to the point, I don't know, we're gonna have to ship it all in. I
Can
mean,
you
we
get
do
it
our
from
rock
Great Bend?
now.
Can you get it from Great Bend?
Yeah, we get something now from Great Bend, yeah, but I just don't know, that comes in on rails, so I don't know, it's,
Yeah, I don't know what the
and
cost
there's
is
a lot
gonna
of
be,
people,
but
states
then,
buying from them now, cause, the one at Lincoln ain't no more.
yeah,
I didn't realize this till a couple of years ago. You have to have a mining permit to have a sand pit or gravel pit. So it's not just like going out and digging a hole in your
Can't dig one out
backyard.
at your farm.
Right.
Yeah.
Not legally.
Yeah. Nope.
And if you get a permit.
And you don't wanna get one that's already been dug in, because then the county or whoever goes in there, gets a permit for that and has to close everything up, no matter if it was dug up 20 years ago.
Yeah.
and you still have the responsibility for so many years after it's closed.
So
You know, we've been.
it's easier
digging
just
out
to
at-
buy
down
it
at Great
somewhere.
Bend Down by, if you ever heard of Dom Truck Service, or not down there, but we started a gravel pit down there. I've been cleaning out his pond down there for him. And he's selling gravel out of it. It's some of the best gravel I ever seen, and no clay in it. It's unbelievable. It's beautiful gravel coming out. I'm digging about 6 feet of water. Man, it's beautiful gravel coming out of there.
Where's this at?
Down at Great Bend.
Oh.
I've been cleaning out his for, he just sells the gravel is what he does, but I've been piling it for him for a couple of days.
What are they getting for a ton, you know?
He said it was cheap. I don't know what
Cheap,
cheap is.
well,
It depends
Bucks
whether
County,
you're buying or
yeah.
selling.
Yeah, that's really what he's selling. I said, he said, what do you get for it? He said, you got somebody wants something, let me know. He said, it's very reasonable. So I don't know, it might be worth checking into, but he's got a lot.
Does anybody have any questions on that special road and bridge?
Nope.
Well, you guys got any questions?
That's mine, thank you.
I'm sure you'll be coming back. What's that? Oh. Okay,
If you wanna go over that.
we can, it's not a levy fund, but yes,
What's that?
Solid.
solid waste.
Oh, no, we don't even discuss that.
Okay.
I mean, that's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's just,
What's the
You try to
timeframe
make
for
what
that
you wanna make.
contractor again?
Huh?
Time-
10 weeks, so they've got the front axle in, they're moving to build their other base, so they should be starting on that
That
here
would be nice.
this week, so.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Yep.
We know what we're doing next.
Yeah, I believe.
Coffee break?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Is she up? Oh, yeah, she is.
Yep.
I said not just weed.
Oh, but in a sing-song voice, how pleasant it is.
I'll get up to that.
Unpleasant.
I didn't spill my second cup, so
Did you spill?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, spilled it all over.
all down in the electrical.
Oh,
I blamed it on Duke, but it didn't go there.
Good.
How's the city of Gorham?
It's doing pretty well.
And it was a working document, each other.
I visit your four-way stop every now and
When
then.
I first got on it,
Did they get that? Well, I guess the biggest stuff going on over there right now is that what's gonna happen with United Ag. And who thinks,
It is under new ownership.
yeah,
And I just talked to the girl that works there yesterday, just, how's your guy, like, your new boss? She said they haven't taken it over yet.
wow.
And that's all.
So is it Beaver Grain?
Yes, sir.
So they're gonna do it? I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot to good deal with that, I believe.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Great, how are you doing? What's the price of 240 in Vanville today, do you know?
Not on the top of my head.
I gotta start spraying.
I was just thinking that out there. I should have brought a price list with me, but I didn't.
I was thinking maybe you did too. I don't have that, so I'm gonna ask her.
No, I did. That's the one thing I forgot.
I'm guessing 240 is probably 15, 16, isn't it, maybe?
I think so.
I'd say Vanville's probably, who knows, 20s. Maybe.
For some reason, 27 sticks in my head. But
I'm thinking 26, so we're probably there.
yeah.
My presentation.
Yeah. She's all into that.
Majorly.
Oh, thank you. I just got it done
Your
yesterday.
spending authority is the maximum you can
Out of the budget.
use. So his budget 250, his max he can spend is 250. Doesn't mean he has to, if he only spends 200, it's good. But if you get a large grant that will put you over it to spend that, then you have to increase that spending authority.
I got you.
We know.
So like this year, say you,
Sorry, guys.
say you
Try
guys
to hang in there.
Hi.
Yesterday was, sheriff mostly.
Okay.
Andy was here,
All right,
and the fair board,
okay.
and Trish Strobel was
I
in.
didn't get over
Treasure.
them.
That'll be right. Thank you.
Ted,
Oh, mine, I can't mark on them. I just got rid of them.
Okay, okay.
Tiffany gave me the
You
little
got a better grip on that now.
red ones. Can't really mark
I
them.
was,
Really?
I was just
Stephanie used
reminded
those last year
yesterday
just
in that
fine.
ED meeting of-
Oh, see, so they're a year old already.
No, I just, that's all I had. And if you use a Sharpie pen,
No,
you'd be
it-
fine.
They don't get it nice from my jury.
Because I bought these for
Yeah, I
myself.
will.
with my
I'll
money.
buy a.
Like, what do you want to do? You want me to buy these for you?
I always tell people.
Yeah, but you're.
I'm going broke out of this job.
So,
Since we had that Bronco chemistry.
Yeah.
oh, it's great.
That was the most enjoyable season
But
in
heartbreaking,
10 years.
but heartbreaking when he got hurt. Oh my
I
goodness.
couldn't believe it.
I know.
I couldn't believe it.
Heartbreaking.
Hmm.
I want to tell the leader something off the record.
well, you're on the, it's not off the record, you're on the microphone right here. You wanna tell me outside?
Yeah.
That might be safer.
It's all recorded.
Hello there.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Good to see you.
Well, to be honest with you, some of those sit low enough, it's hard to see.
Jennifer, thank you for doing it.
That's true.
Last minute. You're the best. Appreciate it.
So you have plenty of Vanville and 240 in stock.
I need to move it just a little bit this way, huh?
You would probably have to knock down a wall or something. Probably attached to it.
Shooting brash on one of us.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Spot spraying. Not too bad. So you have plenty of 2,4-D Banville in inventory, no problem.
Yes, we just got some in, and we've got a little bit more chemical that's coming in this week or next week, so.
Started spraying both this one mustn't, so this morning told me to get again. I'm gonna clean.
Jennifer, you're on.
Well, she was kind of thrown into this.
Yeah.
Very
I've
last
never
minute,
done
I just
that,
asked
so.
her to come in
So
here.
don't drive over it
Jason,
quite
I know
yet.
you wanted to-
Yeah.
Jason has some questions.
Explain the state contract for interstate to me, the way that's set up.
We spray the state roads, interstate and 281. And we also spray the rest area. We spray those for noxious weeds and that. And then we bill them, we do that twice a year.
That's on the contract.
Yes, it is on a contract. We send the contract in, I believe it was in January we sent it in and got it back, I believe in February.
I'm curious, what did we charge for that? Do you know what it's all
I
about?
think this year we went to $45 an hour for labor and 45 for truck.
It went up.
Yeah, we went up this year
Yeah, I remember.
significantly.
Yeah. From 30 to 45 or something.
I think last year
You say
one of
per
them
truck,
was-
does that include the person on the truck?
no, the labor is for the person on the truck.
Okay,
And then the equipment is the truck.
okay.
I believe last year the numbers were 38 and 40, and this year we went 45 on both.
So we're at
$90 now.
Yeah,
And you have 4 employees out there or 5?
no, there's only 3 of us. And then if we get a summer
There's
helper,
2 in the office, isn't there?
there's Tony is in the
Yeah.
office, the clerk, and then I have a full-time sprayer. And then usually in the summer, we have a summer sprayer, summer helper, part-timer, yeah. Last year I had 2 full-timers because I had my old full-timer that was
Oh, you had one
training
retired
a new full-timer, yeah.
So you just have one sprayer guy this year?
Yes, and I've got applications out for a summer sprayer, for a part-timer.
Haven't got anybody yet though.
I believe I've got 1 application in so far.
When will you do them? Or
What's
try-
that?
When will you try to hire them, like end of May?
Yeah, usually the first, or the middle of May or end of May is
Okay.
when we bring them on. And then they're limited on hours, for
40
how many
or
hours they can
something?
work total for the year.
Hmm.
I think that's around, I wanna say 950 for the year on part-time.
So you just pay them whatever, a set wage?
Yeah.
Per hour,
Yeah.
14, 15 bucks.
I think
an
it
hour,
starts at
something.
15.
Hey, Dean, did, in Ellis, they did noxious weeds over there, do the interstate and stuff like that? Do you know,
We even did some for the city of Hayes.
do you know what they charged over there?
It's been too long, I could find out. I know Gary very well, I could find out, but I don't
I
remember.
believe his
I'm
rates
just
are the
curious.
same as ours this
I
year.
say, I think it was, wasn't that a set price from the state is what they kind of told you guys or not?
No,
You said
Um,
it?
because I usually talk to him each year before we set ours or change ours.
Oh,
And
okay.
I believe his are the same this year as what we set ours at.
I think you should double it. Stick
Double
it to them. What are they gonna say, no?
Plus we charge them the chemical too.
Yes, we charge for the chemical too. Yes.
And then
Um,
like if you go out and spray on my ground, Jason's, whoever's ground, musk thistle that are out of control or something, you have a set price for that too by the hour?
We charge the same as what we charge the state.
State, okay.
Yep, that's the same as,
That's what I thought, that's what they did.
Yeah.
So it's the same all the way around?
Yeah.
Okay.
we do 7 of the township roads and we charge them the same too.
Okay.
I guess I'll ask the obvious question, what's the reason for the $29,000 increase from last year?
But then in the capital outlay, you got equipment, total is 29,000, so is that something you're starting to set aside that we've never had before,
Is that on this year's or?
for 2027? You got
Oh,
capital
that
outlay,
was-
you
that
got
was-
5,000, enforcement 6,000, and a total of 29,000,
Well,
That was going off of what we had done this year
or
for
40,000 there, so
2006. Or
you
2026.
got 29,000 there, but you don't have it labeled what it's for. On the noxious weed.
oh, there's 29, 30, 40,000. I think the 40 is the total.
Right, 29 was listed there, that's what you say she went up, right?
Right, but we had $40,000 in capital outlay last year.
Yeah.
I know that, but what's this 29,000 for?
I think we were figuring that as far as building repairs and a vehicle if we need to replace the vehicle. I didn't realize I didn't have that line labeled.
I guess I'm trying to figure out where the increase is.
On that first page, it says capital outlay 5,000 and then enforcement 6,000.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
Okay, then right below it says 29,000, like Alan said, but there's
but then the total though is right below that, the total of them three together is 40,000.
that 40,000
Yeah.
total estimated.
I didn't know if that was just added or.
We had that
or the
on
last
there.
year.
We did have that in 26.
Well, we did, I believe it was 40,000 that we transferred for that we planned for 2026.
What was that?
And part of
for if
that's
we-
building improvement and,
That's if we built a new building, is that what that was going towards?
or repairing the one that we have,
Okay,
remodeling.
Cause last year you had, you had 11,000. And we raised that to 40.
Well,
And we
by remodeling, she means like there's holes in the walls that you can
Yeah.
see
sure,
outside.
yeah, I was out that
It's
one
not
day.
like.
Yeah.
Wonder how nice it is over there.
Countertops.
And part of our building doesn't even have insulation in it.
And then you looked at, I think, a price on I don't remember what it was, a 40 by 60 or something building, didn't you?
Yeah, I think Steven was getting prices and quotes and stuff on that.
And I think for the 26 budget, I think we overestimated our sales too.
Yes, we did, because I went back and looked at that and when I had called Stephanie after submitting this and we reduced the 200,000 down to 150,000
For the chemical sales,
for, sales.
so that reimbursement for the equipment and the labor, then you're still looking at around 10,000 is what we get.
Yeah, about 10,000 on labor and 10,000 on equipment.
And that's all from the state, township contracts, et cetera.
Yes, yes. Because we don't hire out to do any private ground. We only spray that if we have to go in and control it because it's not being controlled.
With the wear and tear on the equipment or them, I know we make a little money on the truck well, I don't know, actually, we're making money on the truck at $45 an hour, but with the wear and tear of the vehicles, is that, I guess, is it worth doing it? I guess is the question.
The state and the state highways, is that what you're talking?
Yeah, state and federal.
As long as we don't have any
Right.
accidents or mishaps or,
Yeah, but that's gonna happen no matter where we're at, right?
Well, even barring that, they even not taking them into consideration. Is the wear and tear on our vehicles worth what we're receiving in compensation for?
I think it's pretty close.
How many hours did you spend last year on enforcement, do you know? On the people not taking care of thistles? And then you have to go do it.
I didn't have any that I went in and had to go in and
Didn't have any
spray,
hours? No.
but I have, most of my time in the summertime is spent going out and checking
Scouting.
thistle and
Scouting, yeah.
calling. I've reduced our postage rates and stuff by calling people
Sure.
for the majority of who I contact. If I can't get a hold of them, then I send them a letter. But yeah, most of my time is spent doing
But
that.
you didn't have to do any actual treatments?
There was a few places where I had to go in and spray, but it was mostly like right along the fence line. I didn't go clear in. And I was able to call the landowners, and the majority of them agreed to get it taken care of.
It says here on commodities, 200,000, that's for our chemicals. Is what we bid out every year, or what we buy,
Usually,
roughly.
Yeah.
And then it says here for revenues, chemical sales 150, so, we get it all back except 50,000 on the chemical.
yeah, we figure a minimum of 40,000 for what we spray out, what we,
Just
because
for our county
what
roads.
we do on our county roads, yeah, that's where that comes from.
And on the cost share with the farmers, you don't get all that back, do you?
We sell for 100% of what we buy for.
Do you?
Yes,
Okay, so you
by
get it
by
all
doing the mill levy,
Mhm.
we're able to sell for what we buy for.
Okay.
And then there's there's a law, if we don't carry the 1.5 mil or more,
Then it's 50 to 75% of the chemical cost we have to cover.
we have to cover.
I believe so.
So then, if a farmer comes in, then what, how does it split then? Do they have to pay still 100%?
No, they only pay
20%?
a percentage of it, yeah.
Yeah, on the cost
And then
share.
the county covers the rest of it.
That's how it is in all counties.
With less budget. That'll make no sense.
Well, if we charge the 1.5 mil levy, then we can recoup all of our money. If we don't charge the mill levy, then we can't recoup whatever it is, we have.
So if you go in,
75.
Alan, and buy whatever, $500 worth of chemical, she gets all that money back, even though you get a break on cost share, she still gets the money back basically off the 1.5.
Right.
It covers that, so
We're
it
not-
doesn't,
But to me, it make more sense if you're not charging mill levy in as high. The farmers and everybody saving money, you can pay for your chemical, the farmer, more than you could if we're paying the mill levy we're set at now. And the farmer's still paying 100% of the cost of the,
But we can't charge them 100% of the cost if we don't levy the
yeah,
money.
you don't pay 100%.
I know, but we are.
No. So if you go out there today and buy $500 worth of chemical, you're not paying full price. If she's selling whatever, well, you didn't remember what the price of chemical was.
If we buy something for $17 a gallon, that is what we are selling it for.
That's right.
And by doing the mill levy, that is how we are able to do that.
Okay.
If we don't have if it's not done by mill levy, then the county pays a percentage of each farmer's
We're
chemical.
still gonna have to levy money.
That's what I'm saying. You're still gonna be, don't mean nothing.
But we're not making we don't make any profit off of our chemicals that we sell.
So if we sell,
So if it's under that 1.5, then if it's $17 a gallon, do you still have to sell at $17 a gallon? And then, or can you retail it at 20? And the
She
county
would
pays.
she would have to mark it up so the county doesn't lose money on it. If she's gonna be, I'm just gonna use it, she's gonna be a Simpson Farm Enterprises now because she's in retail sales. She's not no longer doing cost share. She's become a retail salesperson. That's how that works.
How many dollars worth did you sell to farmers last year, do you know?
I believe our total sales was, hang on, I have that
Well, you're looking for another question is, if we don't do the mill levy, charge a mill and a half for the state and the townships, can we charge them full price, or do they have to get the discounted price too?
We charge them the same as what we charge.
But if we didn't do the mill, would we have to eat that also?
Or even myself, I want to go in and buy chemical. Or is it just for the farmers? If I want to go to Jennifer's, do I have to pay the 100% then if I don't actually have a farm
Everybody
ground?
pays that.
Yeah, everybody does.
Okay, is it the same way that it goes the other way? Well, you keep talking about just farmers. I'm just wondering
Well,
about, how
whoever,
about
I
the general
mean-
public that goes,
Yeah,
we're all paying
you gotta have a license to go in there and buy it. You just can't come off the street and walk in and say, I want
We
5 gallon of Van
We
Milk.
sell for agricultural use. We don't sell for
Resident.
lawn care residents, yeah. You have to have a,
do we collect that information then when somebody comes in there? Do you know if they
Yes.
actually have farm ground or not?
we ask them what legal description that the chemical is being used on and what noxious weeds they are using it on.
And you gotta
Because
give her
it's
the,
only used
like
for
the rate,
noxious
like if
weeds.
you're gonna run 4 ounces an acre or whatever your rate is, you gotta give her all that section township range and
Yeah.
what you're doing and rate and all that.
I believe our chemical sales, not what,
So the only ones that's
it's like
benefiting is
120,000,
people that
a
own
little over 120,000.
agriculture or whatever in the county. So myself is paying for noxious weed out of my taxes. I can't benefit nothing from it.
You can take use paint in there in your computers.
Well, I can get home to the damn landfill
Well, I
too,
know, I'm
but
just
I'm
saying.
just,
Can't
what,
you use paint?
You know, they have the annual solid.
well, the solid
The
waste
waste.
or the,
Household
Household
waste.
hazardous
Yeah,
waste.
and then.
My thing is if I'm paying for noxious weed, I can't use that service at all.
Unless you get
Because I don't
license.
own 10 acres of ground out in the country.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's that way over the whole state.
Or rent.
I know that, but I mean,
Well, if
that's,
you live in town and you don't ever leave town and you don't drive the dirt roads, you're paying for them too.
well, I know that too, but I mean, I can't, at least I can go some goddamn place if I want to. I can't spend my dandelions over there with county chemical if I want to.
You
Can't
need,
go get it.
So that. Go
you
ahead.
need to get a farm.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I can write everything off
And a
again.
half million, and you can go buy chemical. So the levy is gonna be roughly 172 or 173,000, somewhere there close, is what we levy for you. And with, so what do you think, it's 75% or?
On the cost share, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, if we could not charge, I don't know what percent we could charge. Whether we can only charge them 25% of the chemical cost or.
I'm looking through the Kansas noxious weed law, because it is in here.
And you're saving the people money that buy it because then there's no markup when they go to
Right.
Simpson or Co-op or whatever, so.
I mean, that's the only savings. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Some people use it, some don't. I mean, it's.
So the guys that using it is probably paying more tax, but they're paying less for, well, I guess if we didn't do it, they'd think it'll.
They're trying to incentivize us to kill noxious weeds.
Yes.
That's the whole point of reduced chemical costs, to get me to come in there, buy the chemical at a reduced rate to get rid of noxious weeds.
I'd say on average, she's probably, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're maybe $2 a gallon cheaper, say on 2,4-D. maybe.
Varies, yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
somewhere in that. Probably Banville, she's probably, well, probably about the same. Probably a little more on Banville. I'd say probably 4 to 6. That 240 is pretty generic.
Chemicals are not cheap.
No, and we put out bid requests for our chemicals, so we make the salesman bid for,
2.5 gallons of brash last week at Co-op was $68.
They don't go very far.
No, don't go very far.
no.
You can burn that up in the morning.
So is it better for you if you sell more? Or it doesn't really matter because it's kind of break even? You sell more, you gotta order more, so.
Yeah. Basically, since we sell for what we buy for,
Right.
we're not
Doesn't
making
really
any
matter.
money on it, so.
So letting people know, hey, why don't you just go to the noxious weed office and buy that, isn't really helping anything.
It
Not
would
as
help
far
the
as our budget,
county,
really.
But it would help the farmers and
It
save
helps
them
the
a lot.
farmers.
Right.
Trying
Have
to
an incentive to
incentivize us
spray.
to control our noxious weeds.
Yes.
It doesn't help the county.
Doesn't help the budget.
Right, because I mean, we're just
That's what I mean. Even,
paying
even.
somebody to work, we're warehousing something and loading it for free.
Right.
I mean,
I got
But it's something you could advertise to farmers that may not know about it. It's a way to help them save a little bit of extra money.
I
going
assume,
to co-op.
I assume they all know that
I think
Well,
a lot of them just don't go in, I don't think.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. I mean.
Coffee's not as good as a co-op.
Yeah, that's right.
She probably doesn't have the coffee.
No, I don't.
So we figure out what changed.
Well, I think it
Well, and
was,
I think some of it too
that she had
is
a,
there are some that they don't want to come in
figured
and
she was
buy it
getting
because they don't want us to
200,000
know that they
back
have the
on
noxious weeds.
Oh.
chemical sales.
which
I
they
said,
probably
"Yeah,
already
I got
know.
her."
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
You think
So
there's
I
something
think-
like that,
That's why
really?
they're hiding.
I
And
really
I mean,
do.
some of these went up a
No
little
kidding.
bit.
We all got
It's
it on
either that or they don't like all the details they have to give you.
Yeah, that could be too.
And write a check.
Yeah.
I mean, we go to Co-op and say, account, I'm gone.
And that's another thing is any chemical that you buy from
So how many meals
from
we
our
can put
department is
down?
supposed to be used in Russell County.
All you'd have to have is.
And you've got a lot of
1.5 and
landowners
above,
around
right?
that have
Right, we
got-
land
Way that's when
in
it costs
Barker
you.
County, in Lincoln County, yeah.
yeah.
Because we've had the
So we're
question,
looking at
can
about
I
3
take
mil
this to
probably.
Barton County and use it? And it's supposed to be used in Russell County if it's bought
And
in
that's all
Russell
you can say.
County.
It's supposed to be used in Russell
Yeah,
County.
almost 4 mils.
I
So
can't-
make sure they go, oh, okay.
Yeah. So we levy just shy of 4 mils for total budget for noxious weed. And I think,
Some of the numbers I've been able to reduce because like this year, we won't have as much training and schooling for new employees. We won't have,
You also got computer lease. We lease some computers out there.
yes, I think
Both
most
them
of the
or-
county, most
That's
of
the
the
next tech.
computers in the county are
You
leased.
guys,
Yeah, they all are.
And that was something that was new this year.
I didn't know if you guys got on
that's for all the software upgrades and the security that we needed to implement.
now for the fun question. If you was gonna cut, what would you cut? And nothing is not the correct answer.
It would be very hard to cut. Because we keep it pretty close to, I mean, we don't spend anything frivolously. And as far as staffing and that, in order for us to do the job that we do, it would be almost impossible cutting any staff. There's just not enough hours in the day for fewer people to do the job.
And like me, like capital outlay, we need, trucks, either, something needs done with that building, either needs fixed or,
Well, we've got problems with the
What?
building and we've got our trucks, our 2 pickups, one of them is an 07, the other one's a 15.
right, so I mean, we have to budget for,
I thought we looked at leasing pickups for out there too. Did we not talk about that one
I
day?
don't know.
I thought we
We
talked
might have
about.
It was just sheriff and the road and bridge, one, which we don't.
I
Yeah, we
thought-
just did the two departments for
Just
now.
to-
I thought
See
we
how
talked about
it
road
works.
and bridge. We brought up
I-
noxious weed, but maybe not.
I think we talked about just
Okay.
kind of one of them scenarios. What if we do this? What if we do that?
Just like that 07, I mean, that might be one to look at.
Don't
Don't know the
all,
lease program.
don't all your trucks have apparatus on them though that?
Yes, Yes.
Yeah. Make
both
it,
pickups have spray rigs in them,
Sure, make it
the
tough
trucks. And that's with our big spray trucks, they're, chemical injection systems. And if one of those injectors quits, last I knew 2 years ago, that's $14,000 to replace one of those, 2 years ago.
I'm sure it's went down.
Maybe we need to raise the price of this custom application for the state and.
Well, we can't.
townships.
We,
I agree, we can't. We signed a contract
Yeah.
for,
we could look into doing that next year, but we wouldn't be
Exactly.
able to do it this year.
and here's the deal, if they don't do it, they don't do it.
Yeah. If they don't sign the contract, then they have to take care of it themselves.
Right. And
It just seems kind of cheap, but you say 45 an hour, right?
45 an hour for the man and 45 an hour for the truck.
So $90 an hour for.
so when is that?
they couldn't get private sector sprayed for that.
No.
I think we need to look at
Like
raising
we have
that
to go
next
up.
year.
Yeah,
It
it
just
needs
seems
to
pretty
be
cheap.
significantly higher.
$90 an hour for equipment, truck, operator, insurance.
Well, doing the state highways and the interstates is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that.
Especially interstate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that should be, I don't know, exact number without doing some checking. I think that's $150 an hour deal.
You don't think
Looked
that?
like it.
Yeah. So where you at employee wise this year to where you was last year?
This year I have my full-time clerk, my full-time sprayer, and myself. Last year I had 2 full-time sprayers, the clerk and myself.
And the part-time person will be from, say, June 1 to August 1 or something.
Probably mid-May to
Okay,
end of September.
okay.
And if we didn't, and I know we're looking past 27 budget, but if we didn't do the state and federal highways, we could do without the part-time guy.
It would be a lot easier to do without the part-time guy.
It'd be a lot easier not to have the part-time guy.
If we weren't doing the state.
Yes.
And I mean, we're not in the, shouldn't be in the business of making money, I guess, but
What
Well-
percentage of your time do you think you were on state and federal? Just a wild guess.
It probably takes at least a week to 2 weeks to do the interstate and the highways. And then last year I spent considerably more time because where they redid 281 and they moved a lot of dirt and stuff, we have huge areas of Johnson grass that are bigger than before and musk thistle.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those steep ditches, I can't get
Mm-hmm.
a truck or a pickup down in there. And so we are down in the ditches on foot, digging and chopping.
So how does Oklahoma get by? They don't control theirs. I'm just curious.
State doesn't either out here. They don't spray nothing.
Colorado don't either.
When you drive down, I-35 and you hit the Kansas Oklahoma line, looks like they plant musk thistle there. I mean,
It's a
they're-
difference
I
in
mean,
the, it's a difference in the states.
I mean,
Oklahoma,
they're 6, 8 foot tall. You ought to see
Yeah.
the damn trees.
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know how Kansas City area gets away with not
Exactly.
So on this,
doing theirs when
Downtown Denver.
they are supposed to go by the same Kansas weed law that we go
Jennifer,
by.
on this contract that we signed with the state, is it just a lump sum we get then, or do you actually get to bill
We
them for the
bill
time?
them. We bill them for our time in the chemical.
Every month or once a year or?
We submit 2 bills a year. One is in June, I believe, and the other one is usually November.
So you get paid actually for the time you spend on it?
Yes, the time and the
It's
chemical.
not just set amount.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to call other noxious weeds and see what they charge. Cause I'm sure like Trigo County, Ellsworth County, Saline, whatever, on down the interstate.
If I recall correctly, we are basically a dividing line. Everything east, the KDOT takes care of. Because I do know Ellsworth County does not spray interstate and state highways.
That's probably because we're cheap.
Yeah.
But pretty
Probably.
much everything west, the weed department takes care of.
Yeah, and like I said, for this budget, it doesn't matter, but for next year, I think if we're not, we don't need to gouge it, but we need to make, if we're wearing out vehicles for a paying job, you know, we need to make
We need to make money.
Yeah.
money on it.
There's no reason to break even and or lose.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's. the
And I
case,
know we
need
went
equipment
up,
parts.
but
Yeah.
it's kind of one of them deals, we've always done this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think 25% of your time on federal and
Probably.
state?
Probably. Cause it takes probably a day and a half, 2 days just doing the rest areas out on interstate.
You're just hitting them once a year?
Usually in the spring and the fall,
Oh, twice. Okay.
just depending on how bad they are, how many weeds we see, how much moisture we've gotten,
Haven't gotten.
haven't gotten.
Well, the problem with that, when we signed this contract, I don't remember how many months ago it was. It wasn't $4 or $5 a gallon either,
No, there wasn't.
so. Does anybody have any other questions for him?
Just have to make a note of that come
Yeah,
this fall.
Increase that when it comes in.
well, and like I said, see, you know, if you can see what other people's out west are doing either, if we can't make decent money at it, just, because especially if we can not hiring an employee,
Yeah.
To me, I think that'd be more than a wash. I think we'd be ahead.
Yeah.
Anybody in the audience got any questions? All righty, well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for the last minute again.
No problem.
See, you don't have to worry as long if it's the last minute. It just pops
That's
in,
true.
There you are.
That's true. Thank you.
I think we're losing money on that interstate deal.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Well, we did 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one lost, we lost money there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't pretty.
Could be a lot more serious too.
Well, now I guess for certain scenarios, options,
Like I said to you guys, this is your chance to ask me to look up different scenarios, look up different figures. If you wanna talk to other entities, whether they're outside or our department heads, what kinds of things you want me to look at. You've got the current request, obviously, here's your top sheet. I do have a scenario that cuts every budget by 10%. So I can certainly, that's something that I can show you. But if there are specific things you want me to look at and plug in.
I would like to see that.
you know, it's interesting and it's great to get everybody 10%.
I don't think it works.
I think we'll put ourselves in a hole.
Well, and every budget's different, unfortunately, I mean, it's just not apples to apples comparison, I'll use register of deeds. We cut her too much
2
years ago,
yeah.
and it was our fault, and she has stuff, so she does such a good job. You know, many of our department heads are like that, we've got some that have gone down, health department went down another 50,000 already. My division went down 5,000.
How much is the health department budget? I'm just curious.
Oh, sure.
That's our shining star right there.
I know.
$400,000 or $401,000, 150.
That's phenomenal.
And then they went down 50,000. They have, I think when I started, the budget was much, much larger. And
Where was
they-
that?
Well, it was a half million.
It
So it
was,
was over 500,000.
it was almost 600,000.
Yeah, it was
Um,
like 570,000.
The health department.
Oh, we're still talking to health.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
almost 600,000.
I was talking to a legislator last night that stopped by my office and he was telling me, he said Sherman County, their health department budget, everybody's up in arms over because it's well over $800,000. And I was like, what? No, Smith County. I was like, what?
Well, Marion County just built one a couple years ago. And the comment from the county health nurse was, isn't it, as I guess it's kind of like the Taj Mahal. Well, we're competing with other businesses. We should be. And it's like, no,
This isn't even a new building.
Vaccines went up a ton, but still, our health department, again, very, very, very proud of how they've done. A lot of them. There's a ton that have done no change whatsoever.
The health department's always been pretty much a superhero as far as the budget goes, in my opinion. They've done a good job.
I agree.
Yeah.
But
last
I
couple
don't,
of years.
Yeah.
Oh, last
yeah.
couple before,
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
prior to that, not so much.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important that, I know that a lot of people, it's no secret, members of the public have talked about commissioners' pay. I've talked to you guys about, do you really need an administrator?
Yes.
There's a lot of different scenarios out there. And so I think that now is the time to tell me what you want me to look into so I can plug in some different scenarios.
I would like to see the revenue neutral rate scenario, but I don't know how we're gonna do it if we ain't got our evaluations done. I don't even know what I'm gonna ask for if I ain't seen the evaluations, so. Are they up,
Based on my
down?
tax protest hearing that's coming up this afternoon, I'm gonna guess that you're gonna be in great shape.
Oh, yeah. I hope.
Pretty tough when it goes up 44% in a year.
And must live in a nicer house than I do.
Stephanie,
Apparently, it's nicer than my neighbors.
Stephanie, I'd like to know what percent of the total county budget is wages, employee wages.
I can tell employee wages.
Just wages
Okay, I can.
of the 16 million, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Of the 16 million, what percentage of that?
No
is
benefits?
wages?
Yeah, do you want that? with benefits?
Throw the benefits in there too, yeah, I mean, it's a cost that's related to employees, right? Let's throw those in, throw benefits in.
Mhm.
And let's have both numbers, employee, just wages and benefits.
We did cut some benefits from last budget, some insurance benefits. And that has given us a significant savings for our employee benefits.
Yeah.
Just FYI, but I can get that number for you.
EMS,
Mhm,
is he coming in, or going to?
if you want him to.
That's a
He's,
tough
I
one.
will say he did gone down in overtime the past 3 years in a row. We had a really weird year this last year. We had somebody on maternity leave. And then we had a lot of sick leave and some turnover, but I could have him come in. Absolutely no problem. We're also trying to think about saving for a new
Ambulance?
ambulance, which you have to place the order, and once you place the order, you get the ambulance 6 years later, basically. It's crazy how backlogged.
And we hired him at what year it was. We used COVID money to buy two new ambulances. And he's went up, he's on what is it, 60,000, no more than that, 80,000 in 2 years. I think from 24 to 25, he didn't go up anything, so.
Yeah, he went up $8,000 this year.
Those new ambulances can't be wore out already, are they?
No, but if you gotta buy one 6 years,
Yeah, you gotta think down the road in the 5-year
Yeah.
capital outlay
There should be
plan.
one older one out there yet too.
yes, we got three.
We do have three.
Wonder what takes 6
We have a
years.
5 You know where I was going.
Not enough people building ambulances quickly
And
enough.
that's
we
why you
start
have
building
that
ambulances?
5 years.
Yes.
Plan,
Yeah.
It's a good side hustle.
not a reaction.
You want them, you'd like EMS to come in?
I think it'd be worth talking to them.
Sure.
Yes.
Anybody else want anybody else?
That was the only larger one I guess I seen too. I was gonna ask for that also, so thank you, Jason.
Do we know when the valuation will be certified?
No, not just yet.
Bum, 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 bum.
That's a lot of the story to the valuation.
I guess one thing that's been brought up that I'm not for is the employees paying more for their health insurance. I mean, to me, that's giving them a pay cut. That's not,
Well, so that figure is, if we were to have them pay 10% into their insurance, is that what you're talking about?
right.
Yeah, that would save the county $41,000. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a pay cut. And if, I mean, I personally am not good, like I'm freezing my raise, but I would not feel comfortable putting a cut in pay to our employees if we aren't looking at other people.
Do they only have one option to sign up for health insurance?
What do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
Well, like this plan, which is a low deductible, but it costs more versus this plan
oh,
that's like a HSA.
yeah, we just
high
have the one plan, yeah. We've got Freedom Claims that comes in and shops for us and comes to us every year and gives us options for different, and we choose
Okay,
what's best usually,
Okay.
and then that's what we do, yeah.
okay.
And we,
And your cost is still going up pretty significantly every year?
everybody's is, I mean, that's across the board, but this year,
Not
it
everybody's.
didn't go up significantly because we did cut some benefits that our employees had. We
Oh,
cut a
gotcha.
couple of, like emergency room visits, our, some of our, prescription drug stuff.
Do any of your plans have the teledoc service?
Yes, yes, and,
Good. That
Connie,
saves a lot.
a lot,
A
and
lot.
Connie pushes it like crazy.
Excellent.
She pushes it to all new hires and then she sends reminders around.
Yeah.
I love it, cause I
Well,
can
it
sit
saves
in
a
my
lot of ER visits for running
living room.
noses.
Yes, yes. And that is an expense we cut. We had kind of a thing in there that was potentially being abused, so we cut that. So we did have, our employee benefits not go up nearly like it has been.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
But you don't have a high deductible plan,
They do not.
We do
so that your employees don't have access to an HSA then.
They do not.
They do not. They have Blue Cross Blue Shield. And it's a great plan. And we don't pay very well comparatively to other counties, and so it's a really nice benefit for them.
HSA is the only thing that's triple tax free.
Anything else you guys want me to
I did
look
have a
into?
couple phone calls about our fire departments. I don't know if any of you guys did or not, but some of them thought our volunteer fire departments was funded too heavily, which I don't feel they are, because when you got, as Alan knows especially, I mean, when you gotta buy a fire truck, it's,
That was another question I actually had, is do you want the fire departments to come in? Do you wanna have a working session where the fire departments come in at all? I feel like in our budget, we go through this list and then on the second page, it's just like, oh, there's the fire departments, and it doesn't get talked about a whole lot. So, up to you guys.
with that also, we did get Gorham got their new tanker / truck last night. It's new to us, it's not a new truck, it's got 550,000 miles on it, I think, but we did get ours last night. And it was Plains Marketing came over and did their photo op and everything. We got a free fire truck. For Plains Marketing.
Where are you gonna house that?
Free?
Right now it's sitting at our farm because that's where we're doing all the rig up at. So in the wintertime, it'll probably sit in my shed. Tank won't be filled in the wintertime. Summertime, it'll be outside. It's been outside its whole life. So yes, it was free.
How do you get a free fire truck?
Talked to a lot of people, did a lot of,
Do you know Jerry Moran?
no, I do know Jerry Moran. Had nothing to do with Jerry Moran.
You talked to him about a bridge.
But
I
no,
just mean if
no.
you've got that kind of pull with people.
I have talked to
Well,
them.
Plains Marketing was very generous. They moved the Premier Pipeline bought Plains out, and they didn't.
Right.
They only bought the Western Star trucks.
Right.
So they had about 20 or so Freightliner trucks with tanks behind them,
Oh, gotcha.
8,000-gallon tanks.
Part of Lucas's is funded.
When they
by
was very
hospital,
appreciative
right?
in the 4 county
Part
fire,
of Lucas's
however
is-
long
Yeah,
that's
all
been
you're
by
doing,
now,
part
5
of
years ago, I think.
the county is all,
Uh,
got Osborne and
all the departments from this area was all basically sitting up
Luray
there
is
at their
Hawkins
farm.
County. They're not
So
Russell
they
County.
agreed to donate one truck to the east side of the county, one to the west side. Doran's
And
got
does
one
fire
also.
fund have the biggest
That's
district?
awesome.
So it's
That's
about,
No,
it's probably
Paradise.
Paradise Roll over Toma's got one, I think it's a little bit better than those, but they go in up into
Yeah.
Osborne
By the time
County.
we have it all rigged up and we're completely done with it, we'll have about 5,000.
Yeah.
Give
That's
you
fantastic.
trailers too?
Huh?
Trailer too?
Oh, yeah.
We have
8,000 gallon
216
aluminum
square
trailer.
miles.
Good to go, hold nice, hold water.
How many?
I think two and
Thank
almost
you
2
guys for
square
doing
mile.
this again. I'm sorry, I've got to run.
Almost
Yep,
all
thank
new tires on the trucks.
Not a vacuum trailer, it's just
That's gear, got a 4-inch
oh,
gear
got a gear
pump.
pump on it? 4-inch, load itself.
Good?
Oh, yeah.
I guess I was just gonna say on the fire departments, Fire 5 went up the most, but they got cut back during COVID. And when they started raising the other budgets back up, for some reason theirs didn't get raised back up, and then we was gonna do that in a 2-year increment or 3, I don't remember what it was, 2 years. So that's why theirs went up the most of anybody's, is because I don't know how they fell behind when we raised everybody else's back up, but they didn't. So,
So you don't need to see.
I mean, personally, I don't. Gorham stayed the same. Lucas went up 14,000. Waldo Paradise stayed the same. Doran stayed the same. Like I said, Fire 5, it went up 32,000, but that was because they were behind on the cuts. I mean, the cemeteries, I don't think. We
They
can
got their own board, so
cut, man, we can cut Bunker Hills and we're not putting
you can't do it. We can
No.
do it.
And
them
then,
do it
then
here.
there's just the non-mandated sticky wickets that we're gonna have to discuss at some point, which is developmental services, the fair, and the historical societies, so.
So maybe the historical societies will be in on the next
I,
agenda,
I
if they contact you.
if they contact me, yeah, we'll see.
But that's by resolution anyway, so.
What's
I
that?
mean, the historical society, right? That voted on and
Well,
The resolution says we may fund, doesn't say an amount, then you did a vote in 1997. So you could do a vote to,
so it's a half mil.
yeah, so you could do a vote to say, we're just gonna fund it, you know,
So a half mil's
or
rough,
not funded.
or not
Right.
fund it.
but roughly a half a mil's $57,000.
Yeah.
We have $90,000 in requests from the historical society.
And where's that 90,000 coming from?
Well, it ain't coming from anywhere, cause it ain't,
Well, I mean, where's the request all coming from?
We've got Russell County, which is
Bunker.
the seat, obviously, Bunker Hill and Lawrence. And the budget is 62,360.
that's the budget, but that's not what we left.
Yeah, oh, okay, fair.
I'm not sure why it's 62,000, because a half a mil's 57,500.
Bunker Hill requested 10,000, Dorrance requested 23,000. And, Russell County gave me a list of what their expenses are, more than a formal request. I think they're just gonna wait to see kind of what we're looking at doing, how we wanna disperse it. I'm sorry, Waldo said they didn't need anything this budget cycle, they could at some other time, so they, and then I haven't gotten anything from anyone else, and I have sent out reminders.
You can appreciate saying you don't need anything right now.
Yeah.
As opposed to you need it for nothing. You
Anyway,
know what I mean.
Well, does anybody have anything else they want her to look up, or people that,
I think she kind
Right
of
now,
covered it.
yeah.
She just wants to send out everything you kind of
Yeah.
found,
I'll send an email with,
just so we can have a reminder.
I
Okay.
Perfect. Thank
any
you.
questions, comments? All right, I guess we're done. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you Monday, I guess. We got a meeting.
Yeah, sounds like.
I'm gonna try to have EMS come in. maybe.
Mayor, have a good day.
That's
It was
not
seen
Monday.
on the west side.
Okay, thanks for coming.
You gonna do
Have
that?
I
Thanks
missed
for
the
letting
hospital
us know.
comment this year?
It was a good morning to
No,
do
you ain't missed
it.
it.
It was outside.
I haven't missed
They
it.
ain't been there.
They've been there, okay. I
Thank
thought
you for everything.
Hospital.
Thank you, man.
There he is, right there.
I think it needs to be done. They used to come in once a month when I first on.
What do you think needs to be done? I'm sorry, I didn't.
The hospital come in and give
I
us.
said, we used to have them come in once a month, give us a report. When I first was on here. They used to
And when
do
I
it
was
that
on, it
long
was
time.
quarterly. And now it's,
Now it's about whenever they want to.
Haven't
Vance
seen
and
it.
them were in here, when was that end of last year?
Yeah, it's been a year already, probably, hasn't it?
I don't
6
know.
months anyway.
Yeah, I knew it was last year, but I don't know exactly the date.
Oh,
Well,
I'm gonna.
so you working today or you open today?
Next week.
I'm always working.